What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shan Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
Chris Abakan.
What's going on, everybody?
And Daniel Aceveda.
How's it going, guys?
What's going on? So welcome to the podcast for all the new listeners, old listeners, all the above, right? Monday, Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion, Thursdays Ask a CISSP. This week will be with Kenneth Ellington from the Ellington Cyber Academy, and then Fridays everything else, so movies, books, games, all that good stuff. But without further ado, I'll give it to Shan.
All right, everybody. This article comes from TechRadar.com, written by Benedict Collins. And the title of this one is Ransomware Crew Poses Microsoft Teams IT Support to Steal Logins and Passwords, right? This is an age-old one that always works, right? Pretend like you're somebody out to help someone, you know, and almost always just willfully give you access to whatever you need, right? I remember Dell used to do this, right? Like whenever you needed help with Dell, they would have you install the software, blah, 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 go through and do all that. Well, it's something that's already tried and true that you know about that they're just utilizing, right? But what they're using now is new technology. You got to advance with the times, right? So they're using Microsoft Teams to make this happen, right? So what they're doing is they're inundating people's email boxes with a bunch of stuff, right? They're saying, okay, they're sending a bunch of trash, so then you can't delineate. You're like, hey, I got all this stuff. You're not paying attention. And then all of a sudden they hit you up. And it seems like something's going on, right? They hit you up and say, hey, we need to help you out. You're having these issues. Go ahead and install this software, right? Boom, you do it. You're like, okay. This sounds legit, right? I remember, just like I said, right? Back in the day, Dell used to do this, right? So it seems official enough, right? But if you're really paying attention, they're using an age-old trick, right? It's coming from a domain, or that's using a domain that's not really accurate, right? So you see the Microsoft.com and you're not really paying attention, and it's on Microsoft.com, right? So you're like, that's not real. That's not legit, right? But you're not paying attention. You see what you want to see, right? Because you need help right then and there, right? You gotta get back in your email because you need to get back into your social medias, right? That's how they get you to log back onto your Tic Tacs and your Z's. You know, I don't know. I know what they're called. I'm not that old. I just don't use them. It's just being funny, but yeah. Spear spam is what they call this, though, right? That's what the process is that they do when they inundate you with all this stuff. But yeah, they're back at it again, man. Black Beta is the name of this ransomware gang that's doing this. But folks, be careful out there. Look at the actual domain names. Look at what you're opening up. You know what I mean? If it doesn't look right, it more than likely isn't. Just pay attention out there, all right? But Chris, what's your thoughts on this one, man?
So I think it's a pretty genius idea to be utilizing Microsoft Teams, and I want to highlight the fact that these guys were using an Entra ID tenant, which is essentially an Azure Active Directory tenant, right? So all the check this out. So this is like hacking as a service. They're using Azure Cloud to perform this type of stuff, right? So the on Microsoft.com is actually a legit domain from Microsoft. It's the default domain on Entra ID. When you make, for example, if you guys go and create a Azure cloud instance for, let's say if you want to start your own small business, right? On Microsoft.com plus whatever company you make, like in this case, they utilize Security Admin Helper, that's going to be your domain, right? But it's actually, honestly, I'm like, dude, that's genius, right? So they utilize, you know how when you have Teams, you can go into somebody else's tenant as a guest, right? But they're doing this like an entirely backwards and in just ingenious way.
I was not aware of that because I've never seen that.
Yeah, so if you go on Azure and just create like get like a trial Microsoft Office 365 for Business account, right? And you go into like the Entra ID, and on Microsoft is actually the default like domain, right? It's going to be like your name on Microsoft.com or your business, right, at on Microsoft.com, right? All these guys did is, your help desk at on Microsoft.com. Chances are, at a quick glance, you're not going to notice, it says Microsoft.com on it, especially because it's on Microsoft.com. I'm like, that's actual, Microsoft domain. Just because this is an instance of the bad guy using the same tools as you guys are, as the good guy. That's what it is. Like, hey, we're both in Ford F-150s. right? You know, I can pull you out of the mud. I don't know. It's kind of a bad analogy, but
It's Florida.
eh,
You described
Yeah,
Florida.
that's what I was saying.
but that's really what I just think that these organizations are getting very brazen, right? And they're just being very like, this is innovative stuff, really, from my standpoint. Like, a lot of this stuff is coming from Russia, according to ReliaQuest, and really, like Shannon said, be careful, guys. Just be careful. So, Daniel, what are your thoughts?
But my reasoning was because I didn't know the onmicrosoft.com was actually a legit domain, though. Like, I don't think that in the one, like in all of the Microsoft teams that I utilize, and I have a couple different ones. I have one for my business. I have one for DoD. I don't remember it saying onmicrosoft.com.
Right.
It's
you
on
would
the
go into it's on the like configuration page when you like create your own.
you as an admin on the Azure side, as the cloud management side, it'll be on Microsoft is what it comes up as. But yeah, I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth, Chris, though, because I was going to say this is like using the IT playbook against the good guys, essentially. Even more so, it's like they know you as a user, right? If I have an issue, all of a sudden it springs up. I just can't walk down the hall and talk to my IT person. You have to put a ticket in. You have to wait to be called. And there's all these procedures for these things to be fixed. So if all of a sudden I'm getting spear spammed, but by the way, amazing name, my head off. These guys are great. I can't just like go and get help. But then all of a sudden somebody calls me or hits me up on Teams from the IT department and be like, hey, we know there's an issue right now going on with Outlook. We're trying to fix it. Can I please remote into your machine? I need you to download this stuff so I can get in there and remediate all this stuff. It's really hard. This is a really advanced, but as simple as best. It's a really advanced tactic, but it's very simple and low level. So the only thing I can think of on the top of my head would be like, if I'm working and I'm having a really bad issue all of a sudden, and all of a sudden I'm getting hit up by my IT department at that same exact second, maybe that's a red flag. Maybe, IT is good, they're not that good. So
make sure to verify your IT teams. Like, you got to know these people. Like, make sure it's right.
They almost always will put out a notification for you to reach out. Like, my experience has been, they will put out the notification saying there's a problem, reach out to them, right? Which you know how to
especially if it's systematic or if it's widespread. But this is also a big corporation or big industry's problem. You have a lot of users. You have a decent sized amount of IT people, but things like this will slip through the cracks. That's why it's such low hanging fruit. Ryan, I don't know. For me, the only thing I can think of, maybe the outcome of this will be better, like security awareness on these kind of things. Hey, if you're having a really bad issue, fact check somebody that's reaching out to you right away before you allow somebody to like remote into your machine. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you guys verified that you should. Zero trust means trust no one, right? Like, so regardless if it's a framework that's actually put in within your organization or just you being hyper vigilant and aware. It's funny because you say, like, if the IT team is being too helpful, it might not be your actual IT team. As a former help desk guy, I'm just like, yeah, you're right, because like the chances of me reaching out to you quickly is very slim to none. I'm gonna wait till you have a problem. You're gonna reach out to me. But no, like it is ingenious, and it's I hate to give bad guys credit. Sometimes you have to give them their flowers. Like, this is a really good scheme. My whole thing is like, it is a little too convenient, but on top of it, you should have multiple channels, right? Like, so at my work, like, we got a Slack, we have Teams, we got email. You can always make a Teams call. There's several different levels before I just automatically jump onto something. Even to the point where they did a little spear phishing simulation, and I contacted my supervisor immediately because I was like, oh, this looks like, kind of check, because I'm a consultant. I'm not on the IT team or security team. You know what I mean? Like, I do something different. So when I saw it, I thought someone was actually trying to get us. I had annoyed my boss because I kept reaching out. She was like, just report it and then go about your business, basically. Like, it was a friendlier tone, right? But I was just like, and then it finally clicked. I was like, oh, it's probably a campaign. And I'm throwing flags on here. I'm like, hey, did anybody else see this? But no, like, again, this is a very ingenious way of conducting nefarious business. And you just have to be paranoid. Like, just be careful of whom you're contacting and how you're contacting. Talk to your coworkers, see if they're also having these issues, things of that nature. Like, just be kind of annoying, right? Like before you are trusting to one of these entities. But please continue to check us out throughout the week. Monday, Tuesday are topics. Wednesday discussion. Thursdays, Ask CISSP. And then Fridays, everything else, movies, books, games, all that good stuff. Hit us up by all the socials. I go by our name. You can hit me up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. You can find me pretty much everywhere, but LinkedIn is where I respond the quickest. And where can they find you, Chris?
You can find me on LinkedIn under my name, Chris Abacon. Last name spelled A-Bacon.
And you, Daniel?
On LinkedIn under my name, Daniel Acevedo.
There it is. Stay safe. Stay secure.